news at 11.
George Zimmerman is a free man, but his acquittal has drawn outrage from protesters across the country.
Makes me feel sick, embarrassed.
And even here in Charlotte.
We want justice for our people.
The action civil rights groups are calling for tonight. And while we're seeing the reaction across the country and here locally, George Zimmerman is adjusting to life as a free man. In a landmark ruling, the neighborhood watchman was acquitted of murder and manslaughter in the death of Trayvon Martin. It's a decision that sparked more debate than closure. Though the jury ended the criminal debate, the verdict fueled the national debate over the shooting death of Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Benjamin Martin is dead because he and other young black men and boys are seen not as a person, but as a problem.
Across the country, people in church services, on social media, and on Sunday morning talk shows discussed and debated George Zimmerman's acquittal. Martin's family members are asking for prayers.
We're very concerned and very hurt and very disappointed at this point, but we know in the end God will prevail and justice will be served.
NAACP leaders are pushing the Justice Department to continue investigating the killing as a possible hate crime.
There's reason to be concerned that race was a factor in why he targeted young Trayvon.
Zimmerman's brother says FBI investigations have not found an inkling of racism.
I would encourage them to cool their jets, give, everyone some time to kind of process what's going on.
He says Zimmerman now needs to heal and recenter himself, even as he continues to fear for his life.
I can't foresee any plans or any meaningful engagement that he'd have with society for a while because of the threats that are still going around and continue to.
Now, the verdict sparked a rally movement across the country. These are aerial shots from a rally in San Francisco, California, where hundreds of people you can see marched through the streets. And in North Carolina, these are shots of protesters in Raleigh calling on the Justice Department to start a civil rights investigation, while dozens of people held a rally in uptown Charlotte, chanting that their promise not to remain quiet after what they call an unjust verdict. Eyewitness News reporter Nate Stewart talked with that group about their message. He's live there tonight.
Yeah, Tanika, protesters were mainly calm, but hundreds did show up here at the park earlier this afternoon. The message that they shared with us is that there was no justice and no peace for Trayvon Martin.
The people united will never be defeated.
In Marshall Park in Uptown, more than 200 people showed up to voice their opinions, read poetry, and express their concerns with the verdict.
We need to let our voice be heard.
Holding a sign that says, "This is my Trayvon," with pictures of her own grandson, Cheryl Falzone told us she came out to let people know just one thing.
That can happen here, and I don't think that another family should have to go through that.
The Charlotte Solidarity Center says they organized the gathering as an opportunity for members of the Charlotte community to express grief, anger, and sadness around the verdict and what they are calling injustice.
Sometimes our communities, when met with injustice, are expected to remain quiet, and that's one thing that we want to show today, is that we won't remain quiet.
Nobody wins in a situation like this.
Tom Iradi, a gun instructor for handgun safety, disagrees. He says the verdict was the right answer for self-defense laws everywhere.
I think justice was served. It went to the jury. The jury had the responsibility to weigh all the evidence.
I love them honest.
While those protesting know they can't change the verdict, they say they hope their voice brings future awareness to what they say is social injustice.
We will not give up. Our community won't stop fighting for equality in the streets, in the courts, in our government system.
And organizers today tell us they want this conversation to continue. They say they're setting up meetings with city leaders and other local organizations about what they are calling racial injustices here in Charlotte. Reporting live in Uptown, I'm Nate Stewart, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Nate. President Barack Obama released a statement today about the Zimmerman verdict. He asked Americans to calmly reflect on two parents who lost their young son. He also said, quote, "We should ask ourselves if we're doing all we can to stem the tide of gun violence that claims too many lives across this country on a daily basis." Tens of thousands of people have signed a petition demanding the Department of Justice file federal civil rights charges against George Zimmerman. The NAACP is leading the charge. Its website crashed overnight after it was flooded by people signing an online petition supporting the effort. The NAACP launched this second petition on MoveOn.org. It's already gotten more than 150,000 signatures. You can read more about the NAACP's petition as well as see local and national complete coverage of this case at WSOCTV.com. You can find it on our homepage. Showers and storms again over Charlotte, dropping an inch of rain in some spots today alone. This is video we shot right outside of the Channel 9 studios a few hours ago. We're on pace for one of the wettest